Hello and welcome to Foreign Correspondent. I'm Mark Corcoran on the spectacular coast of Northern Cyprus. In recent years, increasing numbers of British sea changers have moved here, seeking their own little piece of paradise. But recently, for many, the dream has started to sour as they find themselves caught up in this divided island's increasingly bitter property dispute. For centuries, Cyprus has witnessed invasion and immigration by the Venetians, the Ottomans. The British first arrived as colonisers more than a century ago. Now they're back. For them, Northern Cyprus is a friendly English-speaking place where you can drink tea by the sea. It's the off-season, and the cafes are deserted, apart from Brits hunting for their place in the sun.
Good morning. How are you today?
Should I do something or some snack?
Maybe you like the toasted sandwich?
I like English people.
Coffee?
Occasionally, the ambience is interrupted by political reality. For 33 years, Cyprus has been an island divided, run as two separate countries, the Greek south and the Turkish north. For Turkish Cypriots, this port city is known as Gurne. To the rest of the world, it's Kyrenia. The British don't seem to care what it's called. For them, it's a newly discovered paradise, and a cheap one at that, boasting some of the best property bargains in the Mediterranean.
We're looking for, I think, economy package, up to £35,000, 2 bedrooms, use of a swimming pool, hopefully.
Yeah.
Chill out zone for the winter.
Phil and Mabs Wright hail from Lancashire.
Okay.
With the traditional British retreats of Spain, France and southern Cyprus, overpriced and overdeveloped, they're in the market for a modest apartment.
Well, you can see the footings are already in for the next one.
That's quite high up, isn't it?
Real estate agent Keith Everett thinks he has just the place.
Another bedroom there with a kitchen in this sort of area.
Yeah.
All I want is a room somewhere far away from the cold night air, with one enormous chair. How wouldn't it be lovely?
In just 4 years, Northern Cyprus has gone from a sleepy economic backwater to this. The boom funded by developers from mainland Turkey, keen to cash in on the dream.
Wouldn't it be lovely?
The population of 200,000, now boosted by 10,000, mainly British, expatriates.
Lovely.
Well, why didn't we see this on the site plan? I mean, this is the boundary here, isn't it? And
For Marion Stokes and partner Richard Baumgart, this was to be their escape from high-pressure lives in London.
so I think this is somewhere here is the boundary, isn't it?
Their dream was transformed into a nightmare when they discovered their new home's living room was several metres over the neighbour's boundary. Now it all has to be demolished.
How does it make you feel now?
Sick. This is all our money here. And the land's worthless at the minute. And this land is worthless. And you can see it's not a big plot of land. Yeah, I know.
Fed up with dodgy builders and officials, Marion headed down the path of activism, starting the Home Buyers Pressure Group.
It's illegal to start building without a building permit, which probably 90% of them do.
It's become a full-time, if unpaid job, fielding calls of distress from other expatriates.
Okay, take it easy. Bye. We currently have just under 1,700. We'll probably reach 1,700 by next week. Properties on our database.
That have problems?
That have problems. That's properties. This was actually our land, this bit of scrub here.
Now Marion confronts a more daunting problem, as property is at the heart of an even bigger dispute over ownership of the entire island. In one sense, it all started here, on this Kyrenia beach. For this is where Turkey's invasion force stormed ashore in 1974.
At the northern coastal town of Kyrenia, after 2.5 days of bitter fighting, Turkish troops are now in firm control of the area.
Turkey invaded Cyprus after Greece backed a coup against the Cypriot government. Turkey claimed it was intervening to protect the Turkish Cypriot minority, 18% of the population. For decades, they'd been caught up in intercommunal violence.
Turkish forces are digging in for a long stay.
Turkish troops swiftly enforced a partition. 140,000 Greeks and 60,000 Turks, caught on the wrong side of this new ethnic divide, were forced to abandon their homes. Since then, United Nations peacekeepers have patrolled the so-called Green Line, dividing the two sides. The Greek south was transformed by tourism and rampant development, while the Turkish north languished. But now Northern Cyprus is booming, watched with growing anger by Greek Cypriots, who claim this miracle is rising on their land.
And then this is the other side of the harbour. And again, this is ours. It's not turned into a restaurant and whatever.
Art historian Rita Severis is from one of the island's prominent Greek families. Before the war, the Severis family home was on the Kyrenia waterfront, and they had vast property holdings in the area.
It's what Cyprus was like. It's my childhood. It's where we were brought up. It's what we grew up with and where we grew up. This is my country. It was one of the mixed villages.
Greek Cypriots claim that 80% of Northern Cyprus was and still is privately owned by Greeks, that the foreigners are buying stolen property.
There is no sign of life. I think that's, a bunch of opportunists. They find a cheap piece of land, find a cheap villa by the sea. Let's take it. It's disgraceful. It is really disgraceful.
Turkish Cypriots also lost land in the Greek south. The Turkish Cypriot government established a property exchange system, but Greek Cypriots say it's illegal. The British arrivals say they're dealing with the facts on the ground today, not the tragedy of 3 decades ago.
Oh, some of the things have survived that we put in.
Marion Stokes's land was originally Greek. After the war, she says northern Turkish authorities gave it to a Turkish Cypriot refugee, who later sold it to her.
Yeah, all the trees have died. Well, if the land is safe, we hope it's ours. We have title to it, so... And I don't think the Greeks are going to come and take it away from us.
It's a view probably bolstered by the UK courts in a landmark case, throwing out the prosecution of a British couple who'd built this house on disputed land.
Of course, it's gone to appeal now, so it'll never be over. And here's this beautiful house just sitting here. Hello, little one. Hello, the minx.
But while Marion and Richard's current residence is safe, it's rented, there are dangers south of the border.
Come on then, you two. We're going to sit outside.
The Greek Cypriot government has declared that any foreigner caught with documents relating to property in the Turkish north could be jailed for 7 years.
Oh, and then he goes on about the laws about building, and to us that seems like it's against human rights. And as they're part of Europe, they shouldn't be allowed to do it, but they've done it.
What human rights? Now they're asking for their human rights. Can you imagine? They've come and they bought my land knowing that it's illegal, stolen property. And then they ask for the protection of their human rights. What about my human rights?
It's all so far from the optimism of just a few years ago. For nearly 3 decades, the UN Green Zone was a no man's land. Then, in 2003, the Turkish Cypriots suddenly opened the gates. Well, about a year after these checkpoints reopened, the United Nations brokered a referendum on the issue of reunification. Around 2/3 of Turkish Cypriots voted yes in favour of the motion. However, 3/4 of Greek Cypriots said no. The Greek Republic has since gone on to gain membership of the European Union, while the Northern Turkish Republic retains its pariah status, recognised by no nation apart from Turkey. Still, the checkpoints remain open. Turkish Cypriots, realising they can't have political union, now seek economic security, and thousands cross each day to jobs in the south.
Thank you.
While Rita Severis heads north on one of her regular trips to gauge the pace of development. She journeys into the Turkish side of the divided capital, Nicosia, now largely populated by yet another community of outsiders.
This is really the heart of Nicosia. But it's not beating Cypriot. Anything but. Most of the old town is inhabited by settlers. By basically Anatolians from Turkey that were brought in to increase the Turkish population of the north part of Cyprus. And the Turkish Cypriots have no affinity to them.
Rita has an appointment at the Great Inn of Nicosia. Despite the divide, some firm friendships remain.
Hello, Rita. Good to see you.
Rita and Turkish Cypriot archaeologist Morgay Shevkotoglu have been friends for a decade. Dr. Shevkotoglu is fighting to save the North's heritage sites from the bulldozers.
Suddenly there's money coming in and nobody knows how to do with it. They're not thinking of tomorrow. This is a typical, I'm afraid, mentality, Cypriot mentality. Money and today. Tomorrow, we'll think about it when we get there.
They did a very good job of it.
Both women campaigned for a yes vote on the issue of reunification. But both now believe that the dream of a united Cyprus is lost. The divisions being rapidly cemented in place by the North's building boom.
So what you had is lots of Turkish Cypriots selling their land to take the money at least, because that's something that they can definitely have, because the land, which is Greek property, has no future, and try to invest it in Turkey or in London by buying a property there.
Rita Severis drives on to Kyrenia, absorbed in the thoughts of the past. On a hill overlooking the port, she surveys family land that was still forest when the border reopened in 2003. Now, 420 villas cover the landscape. Do you think they know that they've bought properties on your land?
Of course they know, but they take the opportunity. Cheap land, cheap house. They're building on other people's misery. That's what's happening. You realize that?
2-bedroom and living room, bathroom and domestic shower. 82 square metres, 32,950.
In a nearby village, real estate agent Keith Everett insists that the Northern Cyprus government, the TRNC, has fixed everything.
The TRNC government are now guaranteeing all title deeds in the event of a settlement. I don't think anybody will actually be thrown out of their property. I think the very worst case scenario is there might be a small amount of compensation to pay.
Rita Severis' outrage at development of the north is compounded down on the Kyrenia waterfront.
Oh my God, what have they done here? So ugly. This is part of our house. This here.
This is your place here?
All this house, all these 3 houses. The owner is not here. She's an art historian. That's how I know her.
All right.
Or is she?
Let's go and have a look.
Amber? Hi. Are you? I didn't believe that you were going to be here.
God, we are always surprised, aren't we?
What did you do there?
This is just for the summer, and we're going to take a winter.
You're going to get rid of it?
Because we can't get rid of the furniture from there in the winter time.
So you build that
molds
on
up, yeah.
It'll go, you mean?
Of course, of course.
Oh, because it's ugly. I don't like it.
No.
Amber Onar's Turkish Cypriot family has owned this restaurant for 30 years. She says they received it in exchange for all their family property lost on the Greek side.
We don't like it, of course, because we have property in the south as well, and it's not nice to be able not to be able to go there, but
yes,
or to claim it. But it's not up to us to. It doesn't seem to be. It doesn't seem to be up to us.
No, I wish it was. I wish it was.
While Amber worries about the pace of development, she argues that the north is equally entitled to benefits long enjoyed by the south. Amber has some news for Rita. 1 floor of the old Severis home has just been sold to foreigners.
This has like 3 owners right now.
All right.
There's
like next door
English couple here.
English?
Mm-hmm. They bought it from the Turkish
the general?
They're
from
gone.
The Turkish general.
They sold it, yeah.
Oh,
they sold it to
a British couple.
So they
it's a polite, if slightly forced encounter, so typical of Cyprus. 2 friends with 2 separate, incompatible versions of history.
The fact that this has all been built doesn't give you a chance to do what? Since it's all built.
Do you think I like to...
No, I'm not saying you, but you know, of course.
No, I mean,
there is one point on which both sides agree. The property boom will make Cyprus's division permanent. The sea changers bear some responsibility, even if they'd prefer to ignore the torturous history of their island in the sun. And for an older generation of Cypriots, there will always be the pain of what was, and perhaps will never be again.
Property means land. Land means country. It's my country. It's part of Cyprus. It is Cyprus. So, you know, how can I give my country up? If I'm not allowed to go and live in my own country, then what's left for me?